feel like the danger of air raids is still real with the lights blacked out?
Of course.
Yeah?
Of course it can be, yes, because you know who are our neighbors. Nobody knows what will be today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
And even in an hour.
President Zelensky lives in this makeshift bunker. In fact, this has been his home since the war began.
Putin thought he'd win here in 3 days, but it's 9 weeks later and you're still going strong.
Thank you so much. It's our people. I think it means that the main thing is the unity of our people.
Yeah.
Unity and our soldiers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Make yourself comfortable.
This is a man whose blood is blue and yellow. How proud are you of your country right now?
For you, your country is the best. For me, my country is the best. I'm proud of Ukraine and Ukrainians because Ukraine without Ukrainians, it's another country. It's all about our people. I'm very proud that I'm Ukrainian, and I'm very proud that the world at least understood that we are strong people.
Good to see you all. Oh, hello. Oh,
No one has seen Louisa since that night.
better. Oh, Fiona, darling. Thank you for everything, darling.
We were talking about the haven the bathroom became.
Oh, yeah, Fiona, honey.
Yeah, good times in that.
We're very familiar, let's say that.
But eventually the conversation gets around to those last terrifying minutes.
So were you were in that same spot we were stuck in?
So you remember the back corner area? Well,
It's up to you.
okay. Tori and Mum were sitting to the left of me.
They're details Tori's friends feel they need to know. Chappelle Corby, who's now learning this paradise could exact an awful price if she fails to convince a judge, a country, of her innocence.
I think I've been here about 5 or 6 times since I was 16.
So you've always been aware of the dangers of bringing drugs. You always understood that was not a good idea.
No, yeah, I know. I know. I don't even smoke drugs. I don't have drugs. And I've had my urine test and my blood test, and they're negative. I'm not a drug user.
You weren't just being naive and silly and thinking, I'll give it a shot.
No. Not if I can get the death penalty. Not if I can be in here for 20 years and never have a baby, never have a life. No way.
You always knew that was what happens here if you bring drugs to Bali.
Yeah.
Can you look at the Australian people and say, without a shadow of doubt, you are innocent?
I am innocent.
Are you xenophobic? Please explain.
Xenophobia means a fear of all things foreign.
No, I don't think I am. No, I'm not. Is there a problem? Just because I might be... I find this very hard because I have to sort of clarify all what I think and how I feel about things.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Well, precisely, because you are a federal politician. We're not just sitting around in a pub talking about things. You're a federal politician. You're standing up in federal parliament making these statements. So of course you should be expected to be able to
the majority of
qualify.
mainstream Australians are backing me on this issue because they believe in what I'm saying also. They can see it also. But it's all these minority lobby groups who don't like the fact of what I'm saying is because it's going to upset their little world.
15,000 faithful subjects waiting for their Messiah. But this Messiah doesn't come on a donkey. Bhagwan, as he's known, glides slowly past in the air-conditioned comfort of his Rolls-Royce.
There's no way Bhagwan's going anywhere. For him, Australia is nothing. The man carries the whole of the universe wherever he goes with him. What do you think? Australia is separate from the universe?
Look, what do you think of the idea of bringing him here? Sheila, whatever your plans are, the folk at Pemberton are simply saying this: we don't want the Rajneeshis, we don't want the orange people in our town.
What can I say? Tough titties.
It's from the lawyers. Cause Chambers Westgarth.
That's right.
Dear Mr. and Mrs., I won't mention the family name. As you know, we act for Archbishop Pell.
Yeah.
You offered them 50 grand to be quiet.
I offered them 50 grand in compensation, according to the publicly acknowledged procedures.
And to be quiet.
And they chose not to accept that.
If words have meaning, so you bought their silence, or you sought to buy their silence, a realistic alternative to litigation that will otherwise be strenuously defended.
If they want to go to law, we will use the law to defend ourselves.
And you swear them to secrecy.
Well, we ask them to keep.
No, you swear them. Don't ask them. You swear them.
There is a requirement that they don't talk about it, and most of them are happy not to.
You contacted the Church of Scientology Media Relations.
We will.
Why haven't you?
We will. Where is Shelley Miscavige?
Why haven't you contacted Media Relations for the Church of Scientology?
The question of where Shelley Miscavige is goes unanswered by this representative, who also won't identify herself.
You're creating threats against very innocent, wonderful people, but you won't even bother to contact the Church of Scientology Media Relations.
I've told you we
won't
will.
even bother.
You won't even bother to tell me your name.
What
I don't
is
even
the
know who
point?
I'm talking to.
When did you first ask? Where are you? Where is
At
she?
Tom's wedding in 2006.
Tom Cruise's wedding
Yeah.
to Katie Holmes. Because she wasn't there.
She wasn't there. Scientology was calling it the wedding of the century.
It would be a really natural question to ask, wouldn't it?
It was scatter, scatter, scatter. I was standing by a fireplace in this big castle, and I'm like, hey, where's Shelley? And all of a sudden, everybody walks away, and I was like, coming back, or you guys getting a drink, or?
Shelley Miscavige being missing is literally like suddenly Prince Philip shows up and there's no queen.
Was Nicole the love of your life?
What do you mean, Peter?
You were married for 10 years.
Listen, we raised children. I mean, how do you answer that? How do you answer that question? She's someone that I plan on getting married again.
You do?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And having kids?
Absolutely.
But Nicole was a major part of your life and a love of your life at the time.
I loved Nick very much. There's no question.
Would you like Nicole to remarry?
Yes. I want Nicole to be happy. That's what I want.
And do you have a relationship where you talk, it's a parenting relationship, and talk professionally about each other's work?
Listen, here's the thing, Peter. Yeah. You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line. You know you are.
I suppose they're questions that people want to know.
Peter, you want to know. Take responsibility for what you want to know. Don't say what other people. This is a conversation that I'm having with you right now.
You're right.
Okay. So I'm just telling you right now, okay? Just put your manners back in.
Do you think I was out of line?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I apologise for that sincerely.
Good.
You met Cary Grant and you fell in love with him. Or he with you.
Yes, he with me, yes.
Most women were in love with Cary Grant anyway, weren't they?
Oh, really? Yes.
I think at that stage.
Maybe I think so. Mm-hmm.
He fell for you more than you for him?
I don't know. Well, why do you talk about Cary Grant?
Because it's interesting.
Yes, but I think these kind of things have to be kept in a kind of... it's part. These kind of things are part of my life, and I don't like to share it with anybody else.
You wrote about it.
I wrote about it because I didn't want to talk about it later on, in interviews. Yes.
So write about it once and get it out.
You read my book, and then you know.
Hey, do you put those down?
It's an adrenaline rush going for a spin in any Lamborghini.
Here
Slow down.
Yes, thank you.
Obey the law, Stewart. No one is above the law. And keep your eye on the road.
But with rock and roll legend Rod Stewart in the hot seat, it's also, well, unpredictable.
Oh, sorry. Oh, no.
What's the matter?
There's no road out of here either. We're fucked.
We have to go down the other way, don't we?
Yeah, I've got to go back. Where's reverse? Quick.
Mate, I don't know.
There is.
You're asking me? Are you serious?
And now we go into one.
You also said that the two of you had a crush on each other at the time. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did. But it was kind of one of those things that worked for the film, but we didn't actually go out with each other. It was just a chemistry that worked.
Even if you dated someone like Olivia, God knows when you'd get the first kiss.
Okay, I'll get him.
I mean, he's implying that you're a conservative girl.
Sweet. Yeah, well, yeah, reasonably conservative.
Oh, God.
Did you have to play that?
I'll show you hot cross buns. Yeah, this is what you start on. Everyone starts on the recorder.
Yeah.
And then you grow the fuck up. That's hot cross buns.
That is the most graceful recorder. Is that the Titanic? Is that one? Yeah, no. Now you're showing off.
A boy who sneezed 30 times a minute. he lived with his
By himself?
Mum. No, with his mum in a council flat.
Yeah.
And the air was sodden. It was humidified because he'd been.
As you might expect, life's not easy for a sneezing man.
His poor kid. How old was he?
He was about 18 or 19.
So he was just going, kill me.
He couldn't hold down a job.
Kill me.
And it was, struck me it was a Gervais moment because what happened, she said, there's only one way he can stop. If I put him in the wardrobe.
Well, let's try the cupboard.
Okay.
You right?
Yeah.
So he was in there, right, with the mum, right, and you were talking to him, and he was on camera, and he was sneezing.
That's right.
Was he?
He was, yes, and then
Right.
he goes into the wardrobe, and I hear him muffle through the wardrobe, and he sneezes faintly in the wardrobe.
Sure enough, the sneezing is slowing down.
That's amazing.
It should come to a stop in a minute.
I think it's something for you. I give it as my gift. Oh, no, sorry, you're meant to do the jokes. Right, well, I can go now. I've made you laugh. End of the interview, right, that's it.
Are you a rich man?
When you mean rich, what you mean?
Do you have a lot of possessions? A lot of money in the bank?
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life, forever.
Have you made a lot of money out of your music?
Money? I mean, how much is a lot of money to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Have you made, say, millions of dollars?
No.
Are you a rich man?
When you mean rich, what you mean?
Do you have a lot of possessions? A lot of money in the bank?
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life, forever.
The death of his good mate, Philip Hughes, in November. David was right there in the moments after Philip was struck by the devastating bouncer, tending to him, holding his hand on the way to the ambulance, and praying, like the rest of us, for a miracle that never came.
When I got home after that day, I was standing in the shower and I was sort of facing my wall in the shower and just hands in my head, going, why? but the thought of the thought of coming off that day, holding his hand was.
Pride's a wonderful thing, but there wasn't a lot of it around then.
But you were renowned for being tough as nails on the footy field, and I think it actually takes a fair bit of strength to acknowledge your frailties.
For a lot of the sports guys, I think most of us take on this belief that we've got to prove how tough we are, how rugged, and if we put our hands up and seek sympathy, then we're going to be seen as the real cowards of the game. But we've got to take it on and admit that the problems are there.
What was the diagnosis like for you?
It was a really hard day. I was okay until he got upset. If Wal gets upset, then that was even harder for me.
I want to get rid of my tics, have a better life. Oh, I'm sorry, Mum.
Okay, it's all right, darling.
So how do you explain... Can you explain right now why you're doing that?
No. Well, it's a chemical... So it's a chemical imbalance in the brain.
Oops.
It's a chemical imbalance in the brain and it causes you to do sudden movements or yell out things that you can't have no control over. You don't have any control over it. So,
do you know why you want to hit your mum?
I don't. I hate hitting my mum. I hate hitting everybody. If I had one wish, I would take that away.
Of course. And do you know why you want to hurt yourself?
Because I get a feeling in my body, and I have to hit it to make it go away.
I've done really well with the mask. Like, I've worn it pretty much 23 hours a day.
Is it liberating to get the mask off?
Yes, I suppose. It's just like anything, you get used to it. So I was really used to the mask.
Used to it in what way?
Well, it just becomes like normal. So I felt naked without my mask on.
So this is it, Steph.
It is.
The last time you'll need to wear your mask.
I know. It's a big deal.
Yeah?
Yeah, it is. It's been a long time. It's felt like forever. And as though this day would never come.
And now that it's here?
It's emotional and scary. It's actually quite daunting as much as it is exciting.
It's a moment years in the making.
Oh, Steph.
No.
You're beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is me.
This is you. Incredible you.
Yeah.
There's a video where we see a hand reach out and touch the pilot.
Yeah.
That's you.
That was me. I noticed the helicopter on the landing pad and, it was sitting there and the routers were going and you didn't think much of it, You think most probably, he'll just wait until we land. So as we turned left to go back and come down to land, that's when I saw he took off. And that's when I tried to reach the pilot to grab his attention, to tell him, listen, there's another helicopter coming our way, but it was just too quick.
I saw the helicopter underneath me, and then I knew we were in serious trouble. And I actually said, please, God, help us. And then I heard the explosion.
it sounds like the chopper was, the front of it was torn off.
Yeah, I remember I just hit my face, and when I opened my eyes, there was nothing in front of me. And I look at Marley and I saw there's blood running from her, and I was like, and when I saw the sea under us, and I was like, oh, we're gonna die today.
Nick Vujicic was born 36 years ago with no arms, no legs, but a great sense of humour. When you go swimming, you call yourself
Bob, because I just bobbed.
and I say no arms, no legs.
No worries.
Mate.
Mate.
Yep.
It's all good.
Our aim is to get to the top.
Once we get into the forestry area, we'll be straight into our ideal habitat.
But while our search for the vipers starts off easy enough,
they're a sit-and-wait predator. Kind of think of them as a venomous landmine.
the climb becomes steeper and steeper.
It's fun coming down here.
Add in the 70% humidity and 40-degree day, and this is not a walk in the park.
If you step on it, it'll try to bite you.
What makes it harder is knowing that every time you grab onto a rock or tree branch to pull yourself up, you could be grabbing a killer snake.
I've been told if you want to spot a snake here, to look for yellow or brown leaves. So I've been looking, and wherever I look, up, down, to the side, all I see are dead leaves. So to my untrained eye, these snakes could be anywhere and everywhere.
And then we see our first.
Where?
On the ground in front of us.
Moving up towards the rock.
Hold the bag, mate.
Philippe and Brian quickly bag it for the research team before spotting another less than a metre away.
Get me out of here.
This one appears to be feeding on a dead bird, the main food source for the small but potent golden lancehead snakes.
Nice little one, either juvenile female or medium-sized male, but that other one we got was a female, because the females are much larger than males.
It's very close. We've got stuck here, bogged in the snow, and this polar bear, I think, finds us quite appetising because he's sniffing the car. He's acting like he wants to get in. You must smell. Oh, here he comes. He's eating the car again.
He's going to get it.
Oh. Right now, these windows are starting to feel very thin. I can't open it. Oh, he's going to jump up. Oh, God. Hello. This close, they're not that cute and cuddly. Oh, my God. Oh, no. So scary.
The immediate response I had was that I couldn't believe my eyes. I had never expected that, even under the most extraordinary scientific fantasy, that modern human beings could return to an animal state.
In scientific terms, it was the equivalent of finding living, breathing fossils. Human beings who had never made the evolutionary leap of standing upright. The quest to find out why took a team of scientists on an amazing journey and raised profound questions about what it is to be human.
The thing which marks us off from the rest of the animal world is the fact that we're the species which walks on two legs and holds our heads high in the air.
I love school, actually, so I'm not doing this because I don't like school.
It's seen as significant globally to sacrifice your education.
It's very symbolic because we children say, why should we study for a future that may not exist anymore?
What's your name? What's your name, sweetheart?
My name is Cleo.
Your name is Cleo.
Hello, Cleo.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Cleo Smith, the little girl lost for 18 long days.
8, 9, and 10.
The bright and bubbly 4-year-old who made her way into our hearts and whose recovery continues to captivate us.
How is she coping with the attention?
Oh, she loves it. Someone went up to her and they're like, hi, Cleo, like, you know, hi, how are you? And she's like, hi. She's, hello. Just full of excitement that, you know, someone's saying hi to her. And we walked away and she's like, Mum, how does she know my name?
E-F-E-O. Cleo.
It's a name we will never forget.
G'day, William.
I remember being 3. What was your world when you were 3? Your world was your mum and dad.
Yeah.
Your world was your family. What is William's world?
Very difficult question, but after a year, excuse me, do you allow yourselves to cling to hope that William will be found and found alive?
You have to. Well, I guess where there's a chance, there's always a chance, and that's. I've tried to hold on to that.
There's no evidence that says that he's not. There's nothing to suggest that he's not alive.
Yeah. But you need to. You need to bring William home.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got nowhere else to be but home.
That's where he should be.
That's where he needs to be.
For all of us.
Yeah. For him.
At 1:02 a.m, Theo was calmly sending what would be his final text message via WhatsApp to fellow backpacker and friend Loic Spice. Loic recalls their conversation as a relaxed chat about the surf in Byron Bay.
What does it tell you about his state of mind when
He wasn't in any kind of distress. He wasn't in any kind of weird situation. From what I can see in the text, I think there was nothing weird about the text. Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary in my opinion.
The last GPS data shows Theo sitting on this rock on the beach just after 1 a.m. Something that haunts those who love him. His Australian-based godfather, JP, and wife, Julia.
Roughly towards that big rock there where the GPS location was turned off.
That tells you that Theo, or at least his phone, was here.
Yeah.
But then, maddeningly, nothing. From here, Theo vanishes.
We ask ourselves, you know, would he have gone up there? You know, did he meet people here? We have no answers.
And the biggest question of all, what happened next?
Yeah.
Coming back now, what are the thoughts going through your mind?
It's always a strange feeling coming back here. It's really clear still. I can just remember it so well. It was like, oh my God, this can't be true. Then after the shock moment, I got really angry suddenly. I was like, what the hell does he think he is? Like, he can't do this. And so I went in their direction and I shouted at him something like leave her alone, get away from her, let her go. And he turned around to me and he said something really strange that I didn't get immediately in that moment. He said something like, I just wanted to try her. And then he was coming after me and I was I was running back to the car because I knew I don't want to be close to this guy anymore. Like,
Robert Dunn? I'm Elizabeth Hayes. You realise you're wanted in Australia?
No.
There are 91 warrants out for your arrest. You're not aware of that?
No.
What are you doing here in Honduras?
Talking to you.
But are you not wanted in Australia?
Not that I know of, excuse me.
There are 91 warrants out for your arrest,
all right,
Mr. Dunn.
All right, you said it.
Mr. Dunn, are you a pedophile? Mr. Dunn? Many people in Australia have seen videotapes of you preying on young children. The New South Wales Royal Commission has in fact labelled those tapes as evil. What do you have to say to that?
Nothing.
We of course have seen other tapes of you involved in having sex with young boys.
So far, so good.
You want to trust the police?
Well, for a moment, I'll trust you if you tell me.
Yeah, well, I can't say.
Or would you accept that it looks a bit sus then?
No, I don't accept that it looks a bit sus.
What, that there's the property of murdered women in your garden shed and you reckon it's not sus?
How many people have identified this stuff?
Well, you want to know how many were murdered?
I know how many people were murdered.
By your family?
By my family, yeah, I'd like to know how many.
Well, on the evidence, or on the word, the say-so of your brother's counsel, 7.
7?
Well,
it's a nice number.
When at Christmas 1993, when you felt the police moving in, you assisted your brother, Ivan, to get some guns out of his house, didn't you?
No, I didn't know the police were moving in. I did not assist him. I just moved some guns with him.
I mean, would you accept it looks just a trifle suspicious?
Well, how suspicious does it look if you think that we did it? I went and moved all them guns with so-called people. But why didn't we take that other bit, what the police found? Why didn't we throw that in the river? Can you explain that?
I never ever worried about death. Never ever entered my mind death. That's what's kept me alive, I suppose. They say you sleep and you sleep and you sleep and then you fall into a coma and then you, sometimes during the coma you die. So it sounds pretty painless, you know, so I hope that's how I go. It's better than dying with a bullet in the back of the brain or a bullet in the front of the brain.
I guess you've dodged a few of those.
Yeah, I've dodged a few of those and I literally have too. I've heard the bullets rustling through the air, going past my ears.
It's good to be able to hear the sound. If you don't, you're dead.
Even though I've got no ears, I can still hear the sound of a bullet.
That Michael Jackson had an unhealthy interest in children.
I noticed that there were a lot of little boys. That's all that would hang around there. You wouldn't see like little girls. And I knew the little boys were there. When they would arrive, they would put their clothes in a suitcase in his room. I started realizing, thinking, wondering, when he was taking baths with them, they were sleeping in his bed.
But there's sleeping and there's sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about the worst kind of sleeping with children.
Yes. I know the truth. I was there. I did find underwears that were men's briefs in the walk-in closet, and they were, I don't like to say this, they were like crunchy, hard, with yellow stains all over them. I didn't know who they belonged to because the little boys started wearing Michael's briefs, and they would leave their underwears inside his drawer.
It was a rare and extraordinary step, one that Chanel is speaking about tonight for the very first time.
So this has never been revealed before?
No.
So what happened when you underwent the hypnosis?
It was like I could feel myself as a 4.5-year-old child again. I could feel the feelings that she felt at the time. It was really pretty profound. I believe I saw my sister and I in the back of a car, of our sedation wagon, and my mother slumped in the front. I believe I saw him shining headlights on a spot near the pool and digging. I believe that he buried her in that spot for that night, and then the next day, when he didn't have us kids, moved her somewhere else.
When you say you saw him digging, I mean, your memory is of shovels.
Being pulled out of the back of the car and headlights and digging. It was like I regressed back to a 4.5-year-old kind of thing, but I was still there and present in the room, listening to myself. You know, I guess people could question what's in my subconscious, how much is that created, how much is that actual memory.
Do you think they're true memories?
I think they are, yes.
Virginia has named the men she was trafficked to in documents lodged with the courts. The name that has caused the greatest splash is Prince Andrew. The pair captured in this now infamous photograph taken in 2001. So as you know, Prince Andrew denies the allegations against him, and he says that this photo is a fake, that he was never there, and that is not his arm, and they're not his fingers.
Those are his fingers. That is Andrew. This photo has been verified as an original, and it's been since given to the FBI, and they've never contested that it's a fake. And I know it's real. And he needs to stop with all of these lame excuses. We're sick of hearing it. This is a real photo.
And that was the first time you met him?
And that's the very first time I met him. And that's right before I was abused by him.
The President of the United States denies all this.
He can deny it all he wants. If I was gonna lie about having sex with someone famous, Brad Pitt, here we go. You know what I mean? I would pick somebody way less embarrassing than Donald Trump. Are you kidding? Now no man is ever gonna wanna date me. I'd have at least picked, like, you know, somebody cool.
It's been said, and it probably is true, one of the reasons you are able to cut through, that you are able to withstand the storm, is because you can't be scandalised.
The entire universe has seen my butthole. Like, I'm pretty hard to embarrass. Did you hear that thud? That was probably my publicist fainting.
I haven't.
It's one bag Google click away. I have nothing to hide, and I don't have a family that I'm concerned about embarrassing. Like, I don't care.
Everything's on the table.
Everything's on the table. I don't think that porn or nudity or sex is bad, so I have no guilt there. And I'm not really religious, so I'm not afraid that I'm gonna go to hell because I admitted to fornicating.
Well, let me ask you face to face what every Australian would ask you. Did you kill Azaria?
No way. I love that little girl.
Why didn't you pretend, Mindy, that in fact it was postnatal depression and simply just, rather than put yourself through what has clearly been agony and great traumas for 5 or 6 years?
Why should I pretend I'd done something I didn't do? It's made me very angry to think that I've been told over and over again, if you lied and said you'd done it, you'd be out of jail. But to tell the truth, you've got to stay in jail. You shouldn't have to lie to get justice.
I mean, in 2009 was a really bad year for you, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You had 3 heart operations, you suffered 2 cardiac arrests, you died twice on the operating table, you had a stroke, and you were diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumour and given 4 months to live.
Correct. And
all that happened.
I still have the heart condition, and I was supposed to have surgery for that.
You were supposed to have surgery.
And I didn't.
And why did you tell people that you had 3 surgeries?
At the time, I think going back, I was late teens, and I was going through a lot of emotional trauma and a lot of abuse at the time.
What sort of abuse?
Someone who was really prominent during my childhood was stalking me. I have no patience for people's stupidity.
Do you feel bad about some of the people that got burnt along the way?
Can you name me the names of the people? And I'll tell you if I feel bad about them.
To me, they have very little credibility right now. I've been trying to settle this thing for years, and they've essentially stonewalled me at every step. So I've said enough about this. Let's move on.
Let me ask you this one thing,
Let's move on, okay? Honestly, I'm ready. I'm not going to get attacked here. You're here, so I'm done with this. Next.
I'm not attacking you.
No, but honestly,
I'm just.
You're a very nice woman, but you're starting to get to the point. It's obviously just a hatchet shop here, so I'm kind of pretty much ready to move on.
There's nothing hatchet about it.
Well, to me there is.
Well, the last thing is that apparently you have an oral contract with your management, the Fordham Company. Is that an attempt to hide your income?
Next question.
I think the peanut gallery is going to start chiming in really quickly. We've been audited.
I think you can air what you want here out of this interview. It's done. Oh my God, you got a lot of nerve, boy. I'll tell you. Honestly, really, you know, honestly.
Why
really,
can't I
that is
ask
just
these
honestly,
questions?
and I was told this was a friendly, nice interview, and that's no one has ever treated me as disrespectfully as you have, really. Okay.
When I was trying to buy my first home, I wasn't buying. Smashed avocados for $19 and 4 coffees at $4
So
each.
you reckon that's real? That people actually, young people, actually end up just spending their money and then whinge about the fact they can't get into the property market?
Oh, there's no question it's real. I think until the generation realises that the people that own homes today worked very, very hard for it, saved every dollar, did everything they could to get up the property ladder. It might be that you might have to buy an investment property first. You might have to share with mum and dad. You might have to buy with a friend. But you've got to get your foot in the door and you've got to slowly get up the ladder.
You believe there was a conspiracy to kill Dodi?
They been murdered. Dodi and Diana been murdered, definitely. I am the father who knows everything, who follow up everything, who see things, because I am the one who been hit by that tragedy.
Who would want them dead? And why would anyone want to kill Dodi and Diana?
Because they still don't accept that Dodi, my son, an Egyptian or Muslim, can be the stepfather of the future king, right?
Good luck. This is the moment.
With Julian's brother on hand, she made her way inside the prison gates to what would be, through circumstance, a very private affair. The smallest guests, dressed to match their father, stealing the show. Three and a half hours later, an emotional Mrs. Stella Assange emerged to acknowledge her supporters and her new husband.
Thank you, guys. I don't know what to say. I'm very happy. I'm very sad.
He said that I looked amazing. Yeah. And he looked really good in his kilt. Yeah. And he'd cut his hair.
So he looked pretty sweet.
Yeah. Clean shaven. Yeah.
Amica, hello. My name is Tom Steinford. I'm a reporter from 60 Minutes Australia.
Oh, so you're from Australia. That explains things.
So you're on TV in Australia.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. What an honour.
Amica is an impressive outfit. With extraordinarily lifelike facial expressions, it has motorised limbs to move, microphones to hear, and binocular eye cameras to see.
Your eyes look very real, your facial mannerisms, it's all very real.
Oh, thank you.
But it seems it's not so taken by my aesthetics.
Do you think I'm handsome?
It's not my place to judge your appearance, but I think you have a great personality, and that is always important.
That's beautiful.
Unlike other robots you might have seen, this one is not being controlled by someone sitting at a computer. Amica thinks all for itself, with a brain powered by generative artificial intelligence.
He definitely knew it was going to end like this. He quite literally and figuratively went out with the biggest bang in human history that you could go out with. And who was the last person to murder 2 billionaires at once and have them pay for the privilege?
And it's meant for a 16-year-old to throw it around, and super durable. We keep a couple of spares on board just in case.
I think Stockton was designing a mousetrap for billionaires.
Wow.
Yeah.
From up above, you'd never know that a couple of 100 metres below the surface, a nuclear-powered attack submarine is on the move.
Pilot, make your depth 250 feet, use a 20-degree up angle.
Navigating the ocean at extreme angles.
Oh, wow. So we're diving?
We're going down.
Leaving the crew and their coffee struggling to stay upright.
I looked around for 2 seconds.
It'll take about 3 minutes
Wow.
to change that 400 feet.
And you can feel that pull. Is that about testing the ship as well?
Testing the ship's capabilities and also testing that our stowage on the ship is
Cruise readiness?
cruise readiness and the ship's readiness to take a large maneuver like this.
It's such a weird feeling, isn't it?
It is.
You're probably used to it.
It does take some getting used to.
台湾问题也是非常重要的一个因素。
Among all issues, what the Chinese Communist Party is most concerned about is the unification of Taiwan.
真正能牵制中国，
Then Xi Jinping's position would be unshakable.
因为如果谁能
Our insider says Beijing wants to topple Taiwan's current US-friendly president, and its master plan to do it will alarm the world. Is it right what you're saying? Your job was to meddle in Taiwan's upcoming presidential election secretly for the Chinese government?
是的，因为我要改
Yes,
名改
that's why I needed to change my name and not use my true identity.
到达台湾。
Was your ultimate aim to make sure the current president of Taiwan was not elected?
Yes.
我们对台的工作呢，
Taiwan
最重要的工作
was the most important work of ours.
与
The infiltration into media,
的渗透
temples,
对
and
地下的
grassroots
进
organizations.
行一个渗透工作。
It's really important that Aussies understand that the most important thing to us is keeping their user data safe and secure and respecting their privacy.
But if the CCP or someone from the CCP or the Chinese government or national intelligence asked for that data,
If
we
they,
wouldn't
ask,
know about it.
if they asked for that data, we wouldn't give it to them.
Well, they wouldn't ask you, they'd take it.
Well, we're dealing with hypothetical concerns here that would apply to any Chinese national who's working for any company
Right.
that's based outside of China. The concern that's being expressed is somehow every Chinese national is able and willing to access user data at the behest of the CCP. And that would mean that any Australian company, according to what some of the politicians are saying, shouldn't be having any Chinese employees based in China. I think that's bordering on xenophobia, and I think that's concerning. I think we need to be careful about how we work with China, but at the end of the day, TikTok is not China. We're an entertainment platform. We're about giving people interesting videos in their day.
Victor Gao is an expert in Chinese affairs and an unofficial mouthpiece for the regime in Beijing. Vice President of the Centre for China and Globalisation think tank, he's a former diplomat who was the interpreter for communist leader Deng Xiaoping. If the US does intervene in Taiwan and Australia supports them, what will happen to Australia?
Listen, if Australia goes to fight together with the US soldiers in China's drive for reunification between China's mainland and China's Taiwan, then you are talking about the worst thing you can dream of. A war between China and the United States will soon escalate out of control, and that will be Armageddon, Armageddon, and Armageddon. And this is what I hope the Australian people will come to realize, that you need to deal with China with respect as much as you give to the United States.
This isn't about party politics. This is about improving the lives of Indigenous Australians.
But this is your credibility on the line, Prime Minister.
Well, it's not about me. And it's not about any politician.
Well, it is about you. You're the Prime Minister. This is your product. It's your job to sell
it's
it.
not my
and
product.
you want to win.
It's a product that came from Indigenous Australians, and it's one that I support.
It is said that the Israelis were able to strike at this time with some success because the Arab world itself was in great conflict.
Yes, it is true.
Yet in all your attempts to achieve Arab unity, you failed.
And I failed on the official level with the governments. But the struggle for the Arab unity and for the revolution, I didn't fail. We will succeed.
Is the Ayatollah Khomeini the leader closest in thinking to you?
Anyhow, we are against reaction, against Zionism, against colonization, against USA. both of us are supporting the cause of freedom, the Palestinian cause, and it is enough to be together.
Excuse me, Lord Tula Keeper. When we approached him at his home, this not-so-chivalrous nobleman bolted and left his daughter to do the talking.
I'd like to speak to you. Is it your father?
Yeah, do you guys want to wait outside?
Then brought in some local muscle.
He was sleeping. He's not sleeping. I just saw him drive in.
And finally called the police.
We just want to talk to him about cocaine.
Kim Jong-un might be the current leader, but his dead grandfather and father still wield enormous influence.
In the country, they are our parents, the parents of the nation and the parents of our ideology.
Western history judges Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il harshly, but here they're revered, and it's customary for locals and foreigners alike to lay flowers at their feet.
Just flowers.
It's an awkward dilemma for me. Insult our hosts or bow to their strange beliefs. We're driving towards reactor number 3, the one that exploded spectacularly during that meltdown. This will be the first time an Australian television crew has been inside a Fukushima reactor.
Depends on where you are. Yeah. The radiation level changes rapidly. Okay, let's go. Let's have a look.
But Dr. Ben Hurd has a specific reason for bringing me here.
So what I can see there is all of the used fuel assemblies. So that's all radioactive waste right there. What you have in there is the used fuels. Then you had the accident and there was an explosion where this ceiling collapsed, and so it's now covered in rubble.
And what are these 2 meters doing? Well, these dosimeters, they measure the dose which you get inside during our visit. Part of the control room. It's only a 5-minute walk to the point where it all unraveled 20 years ago. Yeah. Oh, we're here. We are here, yes. That is the room where the operating personnel worked, and they operated the reactor from that very room. From here? From here, yes. Where was the man sitting who was responsible? In front of these control panels. "20 years ago, 1:23 in the morning, the day after Anzac Day, the man sitting at one of these panels here pushed one of these buttons and set off the worst nuclear disaster the world has ever seen. This is an extraordinary place to be."
I mean, this is quite extraordinary. So these dots that we're seeing on this flight path here represent the signals that are being sent every 2 minutes.
That's right. There are in total 160 of these detections. So they've been disturbed by an aircraft, in this case, MH370.
How can you be so sure that it was a plane, that it was MH370 that disturbed these radio frequencies?
It's very easy because out in the middle of the Indian Ocean, there was just one other aircraft in several hours that passed, and that passed an hour's flying time away from MH370. So it's very easy then to discount you're picking up another aircraft and whether you're picking up MH370.
So it can only be a plane that was picked up through this data?
Yeah, it has to be an aircraft at a certain altitude, not picking up ships on the surface of the water or things like that.
We're walking into the heart of Bangkok's immense Chatuchak market to see how seriously Thailand's authorities are taking the threat that coronavirus has so dramatically exposed. Here in hot, squalid and cramped conditions, wild animals smuggled in from all over the world
I think of this place as a torture chamber and a filthy laboratory all mixed into one.
From AIDS to SARS, and now the pandemic affecting over 80 countries worldwide. Most new diseases infecting mankind are caused by a virus that began in a wild animal and leapt to humans in settings just like this.
They've all been pulled from their natural environment, brought thousands of miles in some cases all the way here in contaminated conditions.
I said, okay, well, we'll go and have one drink. So we got to Paddy's and we had one drink and we got on the dance floor.
In the confusion of what happened next, one image remains chillingly clear.
I remember looking to the side of me and seeing a man walk past, and he didn't look happy, like he was there to party, and that's what I remember.
And who do you believe that person to be?
The suicide bomber.
Of course, at the time, Therese had no idea how close she was to danger, how close to death. Just moments later, the suicide bomber blew up the nightclub crowded with young Australians.
So I remember going up and hitting the ceiling, and then after that, nothing, waking up on the floor. I don't remember hearing an explosion, but I do remember feeling all the air and the energy being sucked out of the room.
It's not just that there's nothing there now, it's a profound absence framed by the smoke and dust still choking the air above New York. It's as if the city's heart has been broken.
Every New Yorker will know somebody in there. A brother, an aunt, an uncle, a father, someone. And that's the thing, because it's just widespread devastation.
Rescue workers are lifting stone off stone by hand in the all but lost hope of finding someone left alive. You get the feeling that those working so tirelessly believe that taking just one more name off a casualty list numbering thousands will strike a blow for decency.
You always have heart. You always pray that you will find somebody alive. That's your biggest dream. For just one person. God, I'll just find one person.
Had this tragedy been an act of God, it would have been heartbreaking. That it was an act of man is terrifying.
So Mars has always been my destination, my favorite one, and and going back to the moon is certainly an interesting detour, but I would prefer that we set sail directly for Mars.
And that mission is really essential, in your view, for the future of humankind?
No.
Why do you think it's necessary then? Why do we need to go there, just to explore?
Flying in space is not necessary, I don't think. It's something that we have in us. We go out at night and we look up into the sky. We see things that we don't know what they are about. We are curious. We want to see infinity, and perhaps almost to visit infinity. To me, it's an intangible, but it's a part of being a human being, is this feeling of it's part of, it's there to see, to go, to see, to touch, to smell, to understand.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.